Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Well, hello, Doyle. Doyle is watching. You know, everybody knows Doyle. He's even older than I am, therefore everybody knows him. But welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490 AM on Friday the 13th, where we contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for that retirement and how to best stay successfully retired. So I thought we would get into a little of the history, but not much, of Friday the 13th. I hope this is your favorite day, right, Sean?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
No, don't bother me. I mean, one thing about Friday the 13th is that it's also Friday. So, you know, that means, except for people like myself, who work all around the clock, it seems like, but I do get rest. Anyway, in 1882, somebody by the name of Captain Fowler founded the 13 Club of New York. It was a group of skeptics that defied superstition by hosting dinner parties on Friday the 13th. There were 13 members who dined on 13 courses in the light of 13 candles. Let me show you real quick. Here's one, which I think I'm aiming correctly, but since there's a 10-second delay, I won't know for another 10 seconds, but there's one. Okay, they always tipped over the salt containers without throwing salt over their shoulders. It had members such as Grover Cleveland and Theodore Roosevelt, and here are the two of them in kind of a advertisement thing for it. I think we can see that. Okay, and eventually it grew to over 400 members. And would you have joined such a thing? I don't know. The real beginnings of the superstition for Friday the 13th, I always thought was, you know, the King of France, the Friday the 13th, that he rounded up the Knights Templar. But there's also, I guess, an older one, which goes back to the Last Supper of Jesus, with 12 disciples plus himself. Which equaled 13. Now, what I find interesting is Nikola Tesla. He was a very superstitious guy, and he loved threes and 13. And, you know, he had to walk around his hotel where he spent the last 20, 30 years of his life in New York City. He had to walk around the building 3 times before he would enter into the door. So, in any case, please visit www.drheckham.com, or if you like, it would be theeducatedretirementradio.com, because you're on the Educated Retirement Radio right now. And or just email me, bestloantoday at gmail.com. And remember, check in on the Facebook page. It's got everything you want. Not the Facebook. Then you can check in there too, and I actually been getting some appointments through there. But the YouTube station, okay? YouTube station has all the shows on it. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get them up, but usually less than a week. So remember, knowledge is power, and how do you get that power? By calling 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. And my day job, it's a J job, yes, my day job is at the Loan Source as a loan officer, NMLS number 384-565, Department of Real Estate 792-630. I don't sell real estate, but there it is. Now, today is National Pickle Day. And, I don't know, they can't see those white gloves. But I'm going to show you some pickles. And actually, are you there? Ah. Mm. Well, I'll give you back the tray back so I can go to the 13 Club. And here's this. So, it's actually tomorrow, but you know, pickles are so important I had to mention it. So, what is a pickle's philosophy of life? Answer: never a dull moment. What is green, sour, and swims? A tropical fish. Boy, you have been brought up now. So much more knowledge, we believe, in challenging the status quo. I don't know if pickles do, but we do here on this station. Families and people need to be more active, reactive. Remember, you're listening to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET, the Mighty Met, 866-955-2233. And whose birthday might it be today? Now, here's a name you may not recognize offhand, but if you saw his picture, you would know him. Jack Elam joined us on this earth 1920, and he left us on 2003. He's an American film and television actor whose claim to fame was his misaligned eye that was by a buckout accident. I'm going to tell you what his picture. He was a bookkeeper for Bank of America, auditor for Standard Oil, independent accountant in Hollywood. We have accountant Joe Franco getting ready to talk, etc. here pretty soon. So an independent accountant in Hollywood and the manager of Hotel Bel Air, believe it or not. So knowing what his roles were in film, it's kind of hard to think of him as that kind of a numbers guy. It's time to show a picture. That's right. There he is. And of course, we all know him from such films as Once Upon a Time in the West. That was that great Leone film, and the only great film with Once Upon a Time in its title. So Tarantino, I'm sorry, and Rodriguez, I'm sorry to say that, but that's the way I feel about it. Now, the director, John Landers, was actually a stuntman in that film. Oh, don't we have John Landers' autograph? Well, we didn't bring it. Anyway, just as a quick reminder, there you go. Anyway. Also, Once a Time in America was another great film by Leone. Anyway, he was in Kansas City Confidential, Kiss Me Deadly. Kiss Me Deadly. I think I've shown this before. And you know what? We found another one we didn't even know we had. I better speed up a bit here. But, Kiss Me Deadly, back to Tarantino, and the real meaning of that glowing briefcase in Pulp Fiction was itself Pulp Fiction. And to understand that, you would have to be watching or see Kiss Me Deadly, which I highly recommend you do, because in that was a briefcase that did glow. And there's no better Pulp Fiction than something like Kiss Me Deadly with Ralph Meeker. And what was the detective's name in there? Well, we'll look it up. Mike Hammer, that's it. So Jack was also in the Aurora encounter, about the Aurora UFO encounter that happened in the 1890s. And I've not even heard of that film, being a UFO guy like I am. I'll have to get NASA Nelly to get involved and give us an update on that. But he was also in such films as Pitfall and tons and tons of television, including Gunsmoke, Sugarfoot, I remember these, and Have Gun Will Travel, which reminds me of our guest today who will be joining us, Joe Franco, who is the accounting paladin, but we'll get more into that later. Rifleman, Bonanza, and The Twilight Zone. And will the real Martian please stand up? That was the most famous line in the episode, and it was said by Jack. It was also the name of that episode. So, and you remember, what's his name from Wild Wild West? His name escapes me, like so many things do. This guy was the guy from Venus, that's right. And the other guy was from Mars, I guess. It's also Robert Louis Stevenson's birthday, who popped in 1850 and popped out in 1894. No, he didn't live all that long, but he was pretty sick most of his life. Scottish novelist, poet, and travel writer, which I didn't know. Most noted for writing things like Treasure Island, Kidnapped, and The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And there's one of them. Now, I liked this one the best. I know Spencer Tracy was in one just a few years later, but I do like the Frederick March one. Also, they made a musical that we saw on Broadway. Well, of course, 42nd, one of those streets there. And here's the music to it. I still see it pop up every now and then, so that was a good thing. But he was born to a lighthouse engineer and was quite ill, like we alluded to for a bit there. And he was pretty weak growing up, and that weakness continued during adulthood, unfortunately. He became more bohemian as he grew up, frequenting cheap pubs, now you're talking, while pursuing a literary life. And that life he called a life of letters, making his parents very upset. So, just one more reminder, you are listening to the Educated Retirement Radio on 1490 KMET, the Mighty Met, www.drheckham.com, or 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. And tomorrow is Dick Powell's birthday, 1904 to 1963. His life was also cut a bit short, and we will talk about that in a minute. He was an actor, singer, producer, and even a film director. He grew up in northern Arkansas, singing in church choirs. From that, he started his own band that was noticed by Warner Brothers, who was impressed and offered him a film contract. He was first... he was cast as a boy crooner, and his first big shot to stardom was 42nd Street, followed by several gold digger movies, also Footlight Parade. So that would be, obviously, I don't know why I say obviously, but yeah, I've seen it, I don't know, more or less 50 times or more. Here's a Bugsby Berkeley box, and it's got all those, I don't know, in the pictures. It's got for that, but we got that, and we got two more that he was, Dick Powell was in. So he was a singer, but there was a big career change that occurred when, and I think this is lucky for us, he was cast in a lot of film noirs, but this one, such as Philip Marlowe in Murder My Sweet. We got two. Okay. Video disc, which of course I like because they're bigger pictures, and here's just a radio version that he also starred on. I got a bunch of these records on radio, also put them on tape so I don't have to. Anyway, he was actually the first actor to star in a film as Raymond Chandler, as that character, as the Jay, I keep getting them mixed up, as the Raymond Chandler character of Philip Marlowe. Dick Powell was the first. The original name of the novel was Farewell, My Lovely, but it was changed to not confuse people who knew Dick Powell already. And, they associate him with singing and dancing, and they wanted this to be done, this to be different. Later, the movie was definitely well done with its original name by the Calypso singing, and I've shown you this before. There he is, Calypso singing Robert Mitchum. Yeah, but Powell continued to play Philip Marlowe and Richard Diamond on the radio with other such movies as Bad and the Beautiful. Yeah, which was a great film and I've seen so many times. Great music too and I think we mentioned Pitfall earlier, but there we go. He was the director for the John Wayne film by the name of The Conqueror. Unfortunately, this was filmed in St. George area of Utah, just north of the Nevada border. I think that would be kind of close to Zion National Park, etc. A beautiful area. And this area got a lot of the nuclear fallout that resulted in many of the deaths of people who worked on the film and so many more who simply tried to have a life there. It got to be known, St. George, that is, as Fallout City, unfortunately. But Dick Powell lost his life to cancer. That was thought to be caused by that time, along with John Wayne, Susan Hayward, Agnes Moorehead, and more. And incidentally, Powell's home was later used as the exterior of the home featured in Heart to Heart. And the star of Heart to Heart, what's his name? Robert Wagner was also a good friend of his, and I got some reverse mortgage stuff I want to talk about, but I don't think I can because time is going, and you'll still be here next week. So I want to give it over now to NASA Nellie because there's a few things that happened in this time. And before NASA Nellie, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and talk about that. This was the day that Fantasia was released in 1940. It was the third animated film and the first to use stereophonic sound. And they wanted to spray out smells, which I don't think they could pull off. And that, of course, predated William Castle and John Waters with his smell-o-vision cards. Speaking of John Waters, there he is. And poor what's-his-name who passed away. And Fan, of course, is right there. And just to let you know what came in that big laser disc box. Here's a great limited edition picture, which I love Mickey Mouse, of course. And what else you got there? Because we gotta. Oh, and there was this book too, and I mean, just to show you, I just open anywhere here. I mean, this book has got so much really neat stuff in it and pictures in it that But I'm sure we all know Fantasia. I didn't know that. I kind of remember it was the first stereophonic film. But I didn't know anything about this smell-o-vision thing until it was brought to my attention here lately. But you know what? NASA Nellie has just now landed on Earth, and she's got, yes, of course, she uses the latest in transportation. And let me, you know what, see, instead of clicking on this Yeti, just turn it towards her is better. Let her take over. And it'll be less than 2 minutes, and then we'll be taking our break.
On November 17th, 1986, en route from Paris to Tokyo, Japan, a Japanese aircraft, Flight 1628, with a cargo of wine, flew over eastern Alaska and witnessed two glowing rectangular objects out the window. All of a sudden, the aircraft's cabin was lit up and the pilots felt the heat. Two more identical objects joined the group, matching the speed of the airplane, assuming a side-by-side configuration. The pilot, Captain Terauchi, with over 10,000 hours of flight experience, said, "The thing was flying as if there was no gravity. It sped up, then stopped. Then it flew at our speed in our direction, instantly changing course as if it has completely overcome any gravitational pull." At once, a much larger ship, twice as large as an aircraft carrier, appeared. The entire incident lasted about 50 minutes. The complete conversations between the pilot and the airport is available on record. Captain Terauchi reported that this was an UFO of extraterrestrial nature. The airlines grounded him for talking to the press and moved him to a desk job. He was reinstated many years later, and then he retired eventually. A couple of months later, on January 29th, an Alaskan Airlines Flight 53 observed a fast-moving object flying from Nome to Anchorage. This object was visible on radar and estimated to have speed close to 4,000 miles an hour. The pilots were not able to distinguish lights or shapes visually when it suddenly disappeared on radar. The very next day, an Air Force jet, KC-135, flying from Anchorage to Fairbanks, observed a very large disc-shaped object of just about 40 feet from their craft when it too suddenly disappeared. All of those Alaskan sightings, as well as many events regarding airplanes dodging UFOs, have played center stage on the Unexplained Files broadcast on the Science Channel, as well as publications worldwide.
That's okay. We got a little bit more on that about the CIA telling the FAA that this never happened and that they were never there. But in any case, it's time to take a break and sign off for a couple of minutes. And we're going to bring Joe Franco on as guest in just a few minutes. And Sean, please take it away. And everybody else, please hang on. Thanks so much.